"What are you?" she whispered, her voice barely audible over the distant sound of waves crashing on the shore. The mirror responded, not with words, but with a flicker, a ripple across its surface. Slowly faint light began to emerge, as if something behind the glass was stirring. Mira's breath caught as the underwater world came into focus once more. The coral gardens, the shimmering kelp, the luminous creatures, everything was as vivid as before. But this time, it felt closer, more real. Then the voice returned. "Mira!" it called, soft and lilting, like the wind through reeds. She swallowed hard, her heart racing. "Who are you?" she managed to ask, her voice breaking. "Follow the light," the voice replied, its tone as soothing as a lullaby. The mirror pulsed with a warm golden glow, and Mira felt an inexplicable pull toward it. Against every rational instinct, she reached out. Her fingertips brushed the glass, and the world around her shifted. The room seemed to dissolve, the walls melting away into liquid light. A sensation of weightlessness engulfed her, and when she opened her eyes, she was no longer in her attic studio. Mira stood on a seabed bathed in ethereal light, her bare feet sinking into fine silken sand. Above her, waves of turquoise and silver danced in a ceiling of water, and the sun's rays pierced through like golden spears. She gasped, realizing she could breathe, her lungs filled with air that tasted of salt and possibility. Around her, the underwater world teemed with life. Schools of fish darted by, their scales catching the light in a dazzling display of color. Giant sea anemones swayed gently in the current, their tendrils glowing faintly. The coral towers she had seen in the mirror loomed in the distance, their spires glittering like jewels. "Mira!" A voice came again, and this time its source was clear. A figure emerged from the shadows, gliding gracefully through the water. She was radiant, her form both human and otherworldly. Her long hair floated around her like a dark halo, and her eyes shone with the same glow as the mirror. Draped in flowing robes of sea foam and pearl, she seemed to embody the ocean itself. Who are you?" Mira asked, her voice trembling. "I am Lumina," the figure said, her voice resonating like the chime of a bell. "A guardian of the Starfish Mirror and a guide to those who seek its truth." Mira's mind raced. The mirror, it brought me here. Why? Lumina tilted her head, studying Mira with an expression that was both kind and enigmatic. "You have been chosen, Mira. The mirror is not a simple artifact. It is a bridge between the world above and the realm below, a relic of the ancient kingdom of Tethera. For centuries, it has remained hidden, waiting for one who could unlock its power." "Chosen for what?" Mira asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "To uncover the secrets of Tethera," Lumina said, her tone heavy with meaning. "Once, this kingdom was a beacon of harmony, its beauty unmatched. But when greed and carelessness from the surface threatened the ocean, the queen sealed Tethira away to protect it. The mirror is the key to undoing that curse. But only one with a pure heart and a deep love for the sea can wield it. Mira felt a mix of awe and fear. And you think that's me? You are here, are you not? Lumina smiled faintly. The mirror called to you, and you answered. But know this, Mira. The path before you will not be easy. To lift the veil over Tethira, you must face trials that will test your courage, your wisdom, and your heart. The words settled over Mira like the weight of the ocean itself. She looked around at the radiant world that seemed to pulse with life, and then back at Lumina. Despite her fear, she felt an undeniable pull to continue. I'll do it, she said, her voice steady. I'll uncover the secrets of Tethira. Lumina's smile deepened and her form began to shimmer with light. Then follow me, Mira. The journey begins. As Lumina turned and glided toward the coral towers, Mira took a deep breath and followed. The starfish mirror clutched tightly in her hands. The whisper of the ocean grew louder, its mysteries waiting to unfold. The path to the coral towers was a dreamlike journey through an underwater world that seemed alive in ways Mira could barely comprehend. Each step across the silken sand sent ripples through the water, which sparkled with fragments of light that danced like stars. The sea itself seemed to hum with a low, melodic resonance, as though it recognized her presence and responded in kind. As Mira followed Lumina, her guide moved with effortless grace, her shimmering form leaving faint trails of light in the water. Creatures of every size and shape emerged from their hiding places to watch the pair pass. Curious octopuses changed color as they swam alongside her, while glowing jellyfish pulsed rhythmically overhead. The farther they went, the richer and more vibrant the ocean became, as if she were walking into the very heart of its magic. The coral towers rose higher with every step, their intricate spires glinting with hues of ruby, sapphire, and gold. When they finally reached the base of the largest tower, Mira stopped, awestruck. The tower was not just a natural formation, but a masterpiece of artistry. Sculpted into the coral were carvings of sea creatures, waves, and constellations, as though the story of an entire civilization had been etched into its surface. This is the gateway to Tethira's heart, Lumina said, her voice soft but resonant. She gestured toward an archway at the base of the tower, framed by glowing seaweed that swayed gently in the current. Beyond lies the sunken palace, the seat of Queen Merilith's power. Mira hesitated, a knot of uncertainty tightening in her chest. What if I'm not ready for this? What if I fail? Lumina turned to her, her luminous eyes filled with a quiet assurance. The mirror chose you, Mira. Trust in that. The trials ahead will test you, but you carry within you the strength to succeed. Mira nodded, though doubt still lingered. Clutching the starfish mirror tightly, she stepped through the archway and into the palace. The sunken palace was a place of both wonder and melancholy. Its vast halls were lined with pillars carved from mother of pearl, their surfaces etched with depictions of an oceanic paradise. Grand staircases spiraled upward, leading to chambers whose walls shimmered like the inside of an abalone shell. Yet, the palace was not untouched by time. Cracks ran through the coral, and seaweed draped like curtains from the ceilings. The once brilliant murals had faded, their colors muted by centuries of solitude. Mira walked slowly, taking it all in. Despite the palace's grandeur, a profound sadness seemed to hang in the water, as if the very walls mourned the kingdom's isolation. They entered a great hall at the center of the palace, where a throne of living coral sat upon a raised dais. Behind it, a mural caught Mira's attention. It depicted a regal woman with flowing hair like sea foam and eyes as piercing as a deep ocean. She held a mirror aloft, its light spreading outward in waves that seemed to encompass both the ocean and the world above. "That is Queen Merilith," Lumina said, her gaze fixed on the mural. She was a wise and compassionate ruler, deeply connected to the ocean and its rhythms. But when the surface world's greed threatened to poison the seas, she made the ultimate sacrifice. Using the Starfish Mirror, she sealed Tethera away, cutting it off from both the surface and the deeper reaches of the ocean. The kingdom has remained in isolation ever since. Mira stared at the mural, the queen's sorrowful expression striking a chord deep within her. Why did she use the mirror? Why not fight back? Because Merilith understood that fighting would bring destruction to both realms, Lumina replied. She chose to protect Tethera by sacrificing its connection to the world above. But her choice came at a cost. The kingdom's magic began to wane. And now, without the balance of the two realms, Tethera is fading. Mira's grip on the mirror tightened. "And you think I can change that?" Lumina stepped closer, her voice soft yet resolute. "Not think, Mira. I know. You have been called to restore the balance. But first, you must prove yourself worthy by passing the trials of the tides. Only then can the mirror's true power be unlocked." A ripple of fear coursed through Mira, but beneath it was a glimmer of determination. She turned to Lumina. "What are the trials?" "You will face them soon," Lumina said, gesturing toward the mirror. "The Starfish Mirror will guide you. Look into its depths when you are ready, and it will show you the way." Mira nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. As she gazed into the shimmering glass of the mirror, a sense of purpose began to replace her fear. The ocean had chosen her for this journey, and though the path ahead was uncertain, she felt an unshakable resolve to see it through. The sunken kingdom seemed to hold its breath, waiting for her to begin. The silence in the great hall was profound, a weight that pressed against Mira's chest as she stood before the Starfish Mirror. Its surface rippled faintly, the light within shifting like the ebb and flow of the tide. Lumina's words echoed in her mind. The mirror will guide you. Taking a steadying breath, she gazed into the mirror's depths. For a moment, her reflection stared back at her, uncertain and fragile. Then, the glass shimmered, and her image dissolved into an endless expanse of ocean. The mirror's glow intensified, and the world around her blurred. When the light receded, she found herself standing in a vast, open expanse of water, with no palace, no walls, just the endless sea and the trials that awaited. The first trial, the dance of the abyss. A soft hum reached Mira's ears, growing louder until it resonated through her entire being. The water before her began to churn, forming a vortex of shadow and light that spiraled downward into an unfathomable abyss. The sight was dizzying, the pull of the vortex palpable even from where she stood. The dance of the abyss, a voice whispered, though no figure appeared. Step into the current. Trust the ocean's rhythm, and it will guide you. Fear gripped her. The vortex seemed alive, hungry, its tendrils of shadow stretching toward her like fingers. Yet, she knew hesitation would not serve her here. Clutching the starfish mirror, she stepped forward, letting the current sweep her into the whirlpool. The rush was overwhelming, her body spinning uncontrollably as she plunged deeper into the abyss. Darkness enveloped her, but within it, flickers of light appeared, schools of luminescent fish and glowing trails of kelp. Slowly the chaos began to take form. The current shifted, becoming a rhythm, a dance that Mira could follow. She extended her arms, moving with the flow, her fear giving way to exhilaration. The vortex released her as suddenly as it had claimed her, and she found herself floating in calm waters. A voice spoke again, softer this time. You have passed the first trial. The ocean's rhythm is now yours. The second trial, the silent song. The water around her grew still, and the light dimmed until Mira was surrounded by shadow. A new challenge revealed itself, a field of lifeless coral, its once vibrant colours now ashen and grey. The silence was deafening, oppressive in its weight, and Mira felt a deep sadness settle over her. The silent song, the voice intoned. Listen to the ocean's pain and pledge to heal it. Mira closed her eyes, straining to hear something, anything. At first, there was nothing but the soundless void. Then, faintly, she began to sense it. The cries of the sea. They were not voices, but emotions. A profound grief. A lament for the beauty lost to neglect and greed. The weight of it brought tears to Mira's eyes, her heart aching for the ocean's suffering. I hear you, she whispered, her voice trembling. I promise to protect you, to be your voice. As her words faded, the coral began to stir. Colors seeped back into the lifeless branches, spreading like ink in water. The silence lifted, replaced by a gentle hum, and Mira felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. "The second trial is complete," the voice said. "You have pledged to heal the ocean's wounds." The third trial, the mirror's reflection. The water brightened once more, and Mira found herself standing before an immense version of the Starfish Mirror. Its surface was vast and crystalline, and as she approached, her own reflection came into view. But it was not the reflection she expected. The mirror showed her fears, her doubt, her hesitation, the moments she had turned away from challenges in her life. It showed her struggling to find her place, questioning her worth. The sight was unbearable, yet Mira could not look away. "This is your final trial," the voice said. "Confront the truth of who you are. Only by accepting it can you wield the mirror's power." Mira's hands trembled as she reached out to touch the glass. The reflection shifted, showing her not as she was, but as she could be, strong, compassionate, and fearless. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "I accept myself, flaws and all. I will not let my fear define me." The mirror glowed brightly, and her reflection merged with her image. The glass shattered into a cascade of light, surrounding Mira in a warm, golden glow. "You have passed the final trial," the voice said. "The Starfish Mirror is yours to command." As the light receded, Mira found herself back in the sunken palace. Lumina stood before her, a look of pride on her radiant face. "You have done well," Lumina said. "The trials have revealed your courage and your heart. The Starfish Mirror is now attuned to you. With its power, you can lift the curse and restore Tethira." Mira looked down at the mirror in her hands, its surface glowing softly. She felt a newfound strength within her, a connection to the ocean that was deeper than anything she had ever known. The trials had changed her, and she was ready for what lay ahead. Mira stood at the heart of the sunken palace, the Starfish Mirror glowing in her hands. The warmth of its light coursed through her, a quiet but undeniable power that seemed to hum in time with her heartbeat. Around her, the once faded murals on the palace walls began to shimmer faintly, as if stirred by the mirror's awakening. Lumina regarded Mira with a serene expression, though her luminous eyes glimmered with expectation. "The moment has come, Mira. The Starfish Mirror is ready. Its power is yours to wield, but the choice must be yours as well." Mira hesitated. "The choice?" Lumina nodded, her voice soft but resonant. "The curse that binds Tethira is powerful, woven from both despair and hope. To undo it, you must give the mirror everything it asks. It will take strength, yes, but also your understanding of the balance between the sea and the surface. Only through your own will can the connection be restored. Mira's gaze dropped to the mirror's surface. Within its glowing depths, she saw the vibrant oceanic realm she had grown to love. But beyond it, faint and fleeting, she glimpsed images of the surface world, the shimmering waves of the shore, the cries of seabirds, the faces of people who lived by and from the sea. For a brief moment, she saw herself as a child, painting the ocean from the cliffs, her heart full of wonder. The ocean and the surface were not separate worlds. They were intertwined, their fates bound together by tides, storms, and sunlight. The ocean's magic had always been there, hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to see it. Her resolve hardened. "I'll do whatever it takes." Lumina stepped closer, her expression both solemn and proud. "Then hold the mirror to your heart and speak the words it reveals to you." Mira raised the starfish mirror, its glow intensifying as she pressed it against her chest. The light spread outward, enveloping her in a golden aura. Within her mind, she heard the voice of the mirror, not as a whisper, but as a symphony, a chorus of the ocean's life and memories. The words came unbidden, flowing from her lips as though she had always known them. "By the light of the tides, by the rhythm of the waves, let the bond between realms be restored. Let the ocean's song rise to meet the surface, and may both be forever whole." As the final syllable left her lips, the mirror's glow erupted into a brilliant cascade of light. The entire palace seemed to come alive, its walls shimmering with the colors of 1,000 sunrises. The cracks in the coral healed, the murals regained their luster, and the sea itself seemed to pulse with renewed energy. A deep, resonant hum filled the water, growing louder until it seemed to echo through every corner of the kingdom. Mira turned to see the palace doors swinging open, and beyond them, the ocean shimmered with impossible beauty. The veil that had hidden Tethera from the world dissolved like mist in the sun, revealing the kingdom in all its glory. Mira stepped outside, the starfish mirror still warm in her hands. Around her, Tethera teemed with life. The coral towers gleamed in vibrant hues, and schools of fish darted joyfully through the water. The sea creatures she had encountered before returned, their movements celebratory. Even the water itself felt lighter, as though the ocean were breathing deeply for the first time in centuries. From above, faint beams of sunlight pierced through the water, a promise of the renewed connection between the sea and the surface. Mira looked up, her heart swelling with a profound sense of accomplishment and gratitude. Lumina appeared beside her, her luminous form radiant. "You have done what no one else could, Mira. Tethera is free, and the ocean's magic is restored. The bond between the realms has been reforged." Tears welled in Mira's eyes. "What happens now?" Lumina smiled. "A quiet pride in her expression. Now, you carry the ocean's song with you wherever you go. The starfish mirror remains yours, not as a tool of power, but as a reminder of what you have restored and what you must protect. The mirror's light dimmed slightly, settling into a gentle glow. Mira felt its weight in her hands, no longer just an artifact, but a part of her story, her purpose. When she awoke, Mira found herself back in her attic studio, the starfish mirror resting on the table before her. The morning sun streamed through the window, casting golden patterns on the floor. The room felt different, filled with a quiet magic that hadn't been there before. Outside, the sound of waves called to her, not as a whisper, but as a song, an invitation to keep listening, keep protecting, keep creating. Mira picked up her brush, the ocean reflected in her eyes, and began to paint.